Well, like I said earlier, I appreciate you being here.
Of
Um,
course.
and I think we were going to talk about kind of building a brand type thing.
Yeah.
But first, I want to like, would you mind introducing yourself so that
Yeah, of course.
the people who maybe not know you, who are going to watch the podcast, can get an idea of like what you do, where you came from, and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. So do you have you started the podcast now? Have we got it going?
Yeah. So I look, I tricked you a little bit. I started the
Nice.
podcast way
I got
back when we
respect, by the way.
got done when we started.
Uh-huh.
Only because I like to have some of those moments in there. They'll probably get a lot of them will probably get cut, right? But
Yeah,
like
yeah.
sometimes you get some good stuff right in the beginning,
Yeah, no,
right?
okay. Okay, I
With the
like that. That's
banter.
smooth.
So now, when they cut it together, they'll probably put those in maybe at the end or something. But it's one of those things where you capture some stuff. Like when I'm setting up, I gotta talk to you. Like I don't want to just have blank space, you know what I mean? So it's like I'm talking to you, well, that way you're not just sitting there waiting for me to fix all my technical issues. So
No,
but
I
I
love
record
that.
that just in case we get something good, just
Yeah.
like
No, I like that.
so
Okay.
that's just how it goes. But yeah,
No.
we're in podcast mode.
Yeah.
So yeah, just start when you're ready.
No problem at all.
And I got the background stuff handled at least.
No problem. Yeah, so my name is Andy, and I am currently working towards becoming a mindset coach for people looking to take a jump in their business. I've seen a lot of streamers in the past when I used to stream, and a lot of people who are wanting to start a business not take that leap due to a fear of failure, success, and a lot of obstacles that are getting in their road. And I know for a long time I done the same. I was worried about what people thought about me. I was worried about how to move forward, what people would think when I tried something new. And it always seemed to be my mindset that got in the way. And I want to help people overcome that. I want to help people push for something, build habits, systems, and processes that build sustainability, also help with their finances and really push them to the next level. And that's what sort of introduction to who I am and what I'm working towards at the moment.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. You hit on a lot of points that me, even as like a small, just starting out, you know, person streamer, and that's kind of a lie. Just starting out's a lie for me, but like you know what I mean. Just like as a small streamer, I guess,
Mhm.
that just bugged me every day. Even though I'm not even trying to do it for like a business, and I know that's got to have so much more weight on it for the person trying to create it as like their lifestyle lifeline. So I get that, and that's a very lofty goal, I think. But I think that just you and having that mindset already at your age. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Just turned 22 in January.
Okay, so listen, I'm 36, okay? All right. So the fact that you just have this mindset to be able to help people like that is amazing, especially at your age. I think at least that's awesome. Like,
Thank you.
Congrats to you for already. And to be honest with you, I hope this trend keeps going, but that's kind of how the world is hopefully getting. We keep advancing this way, where we're all about trying to help one another, which is what you want from the beginning. But obviously, the world hasn't worked that way in so long. So it's awesome to see like younger minds like you, and there's tons of people out there now kind of strive towards that goal, which is awesome. So how did you? My question is, how did you decide this is what you wanted to do? Like, was there something that kind of set you on this path, if that makes sense?
So there's two sort of major turning points for me. And the first was when I actually started on Twitch. It was about 2 years ago, and I didn't tell anyone because I was terrified. I did not want anyone finding out that I done anything out of the ordinary. And in the place I live, a lot of people talk about one another. Information gets around like wildfire. Everyone sort of knows everyone's business. And I didn't want people to know what I was doing. I wanted to enjoy the stuff I was doing and see how well I could do it without outside influence affecting me. So at that point, I had a massive fear of anyone finding out who I was. I didn't use cameras on stream when I first started. I didn't post on Instagram because I knew that algorithms used location very well and was able to show people about where you were. So I focused on Twitter and just Twitch and didn't really say anything to anyone about it.
Sure.
And at that point, you know, although I was loving it and I absolutely loved doing it, I was always hiding what I was doing to the people I cared about, my friends, or going out or something. You know, I would tell them lies. I would make things up so that they wouldn't know that I was streaming that day, or I had to work on some content that day when they thought I was just staying at four walls doing absolutely nothing. And at that time, you know, as I got further into it and as I progressed, eventually some people started finding out. I told some people, and I became a lot more confident in who I was. That was the journey for me at the start, to becoming who I wanted to be, to express who I am without that fear of the way people would judge me, fear of the way people would see me for the things that I'm doing, or taking steps that actually made me happy, rather than trying to fit into like the sort of status quo of what you're meant to do as being in high school and going to college and all that sort of stuff, and doing a little bit of something out of the norm. So that was the first turning point for me at that time, where I started to slowly gain that confidence. And now here I'm very confident on camera. I'm really not bothered about taking myself outside my comfort zone. And the second turning point was when I actually moved away from Twitch. So I no longer stream, and I decided to make that jump because I was at that point trying to help people with social media. You know, I was trying to help people get started on social media, develop their social media further, really talk to them in a way that tries to help them push forward with their goals. And social media always came back to how many followers can you get? How many likes can you get? And I didn't like that, because what I started this for was for my happiness. What we all want at the end of the day is happiness. You know, we want that. And of course, status is quite a big thing in regards to that, but happiness often trumps all. And I just found that if we were constantly just chasing a number, constantly chasing a certain amount of likes, where's the happiness going to come from that in your whole life? You know, you're not going to look back on your deathbed and think, you know what, I got 400 likes in that post. That's all that matters. You know, you want experience, you want general relationships that give you happiness, that give you love and freedom for what you want to do in your life. And 100%. I questioned myself for quite a while. You know, I looked at my purpose and I sat down with myself, and this took a couple months, and I just said, you know, what is your purpose? What do you actually want to do in your life? What options do you want in your life? And that's what I found. You know, I've been through quite a few struggles in my life. I've overcame quite a few things that I believe are pretty powerful. And I want to help people take the leap that I took and not be afraid of taking that leap and shifting their mindset into believing in themselves. You know, we have people we surround ourselves with matter. You know, the things we educate ourselves on matter. The things we do, the actions we take, they all lead us to the person we are today. And that was the second shift that really made me get to, I want to help people start crushing their mindset and really waking up each day thinking, you know what, I can do it. And even if it is scary, I'm still going to take that leap, because 90% of people will never take any action due to a lot of the fears that ever stop them from moving anywhere. So I know it was quite a long story about that, but that was the sort of two-step jump of how I've got to where I'm at right now.
Yeah, a couple of points that you said that just hits home with me, or anyone that I've, you know, talked to before, is, you know, you talk about how like social media is a big thing, obviously, and like you live your and this isn't even just to content creators specifically, it's to everyone. They live their life off those likes and everything else, you know, and like you said, how does that, you know, you're striving to get likes, and you kind of lose sight of everything else at that point. You know, it's like, it's not about spending the time, you know, for example, it's not about spending time with your family. It's about getting that perfect picture with your family so that you can put it online and get those likes. So I definitely see that and understand what you mean, at least in that aspect, you know, and as a streamer, it's even more, because it may not be more, but it's just an added pressure, because you're hoping those likes turn into follows, turn into people coming to watch your stream, turning into revenue, which, to be honest with you, is kind of scary, you know, like trying to base your revenue, like your income, your monthly income off of, now I'm not, you know, these strangers, quote unquote, okay, is pretty scary. You know,
Yeah.
no, one month you may have a lot of strangers give you a lot of money, and the next month you might not get any. And so
Big
that's
time.
just such a hard concept to get behind, to be honest with you. At least as far as I'm concerned, you know, like on Twitch or YouTube with like subscribers, you know, that's
No, I totally agree with you. It's terrifying. And that was one of the things that stopped me for a long time of leaving Twitch, because there was this monetary gain that I was getting from it that was helping me push for different things and create new things very quickly. And that stopped me for a long time about ever quitting Twitch. But then I realized, you know, it's not the be all and end all. We're always going to have that opportunity to create something new. And maybe if that's not your purpose, you know, you don't need to keep going just because that's what you started on. And once I took that leap, I truly believe I've become heaps and bounds happier and understood a lot more about myself, because I've not got that constant pressure that I didn't want. You know, I love pressure and I love putting pressure on myself, but there was this sort of innate feeling that I had to turn up as someone that I might not have 100% been off stream. You know,
sure.
you're trying to be the same person you are all the time, and you're trying to be authentic, but then people take little bits of you away, and it starts to become a sort of routine. And I didn't want that anymore.
You lose pieces of yourself. Yeah,
Yeah,
I understand that. That's definitely a thing. You know, you just have to be, or at least that I believe you have to be willing to um you have two paths, and I think what you're talking about is being true to yourself, which is great. That's a great mindset to have. And again, the way society and the world is right now, that's not how you necessarily become popular, you know. So that's unfortunate way of saying that, you know. And it's shifting. Like, you know, we have a lot more people who can be themselves and be and it's okay, which is great. But like you said, taking that leap is that's a big one. You know what I mean?
definitely.
You know, I've always gotten into content creation myself just because I like meeting people. You know, as much as I like to think myself as extrovert, as far as like I like to hang out with people and meet people and talk to people. And I just saw that like streaming or just putting out video content or any of that is just another avenue for finding new people and meeting them and talking to them, you know, online. Um, so my mindset's a little bit different, you know. It's not necessarily about making money, you know. I have a job, a 9 to 5, and I'm okay with that job. Like, it's not like I'm doing something terrible, you know, every day. So I don't have a huge issue with that. And so you know, for me, it's not really as big of an issue. And I guess that takes a lot of the pressures off anyway, because I'm not trying to turn it into a career, you know what I mean? So
you're just enjoying it in there for the process of
yeah. And so I feel like, more to your point, I have more liberty to do what I want to do. You know what I mean? Because I'm not stuck behind those constructs that are limiting certain people, you know, so that they hopefully have the most chance to be successful. You know what I mean? So
you're right.
You know, just so mindset and focus wise is just kind of what I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to change that, really, is what it sounds like. And so what do you think? Like, what is the best type of mindset we should have when we're starting to like build our brand or build our you're really saying for anything, not just like streaming or anything like that, but is it like staying true to yourself? Like, do you have these rules for yourself? Like, how do you best establish a mindset that kind of helps you? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'd say there's probably two main things that have helped me massively and have shown to help a lot of people. And one of them is your sort of habits, what you do on a daily basis, what you do for yourself, what you do for other people, how you treat other people. All of these things play a massive role in who you start to become. You know, I about 150 days or so ago, I started tracking my habits, what I was doing. And these included things that I've never done before, things like journaling, meditation, affirmations, visualization. And I've also just kept on going with the reading, fitness. And I've got my morning routine now where I'm getting up at 6 a.m. every day, which was something I'd never done before. And I've also been trying to be more grateful, you know, for the things that I have, because these two, sort of all the habits that you build and being grateful for what you have, is something we just don't think about enough, but have these compounding effects that change our lives completely, even without us realizing it. You know, if you think of, even if you turn up at the gym for 365 days out of the year, there's going to be some form of change. If you actually go in there to do some exercise, you know, I'm not just saying you walk into the gym and you walk back out, you actually go in there and do what the purpose is intended to do, you're going to see change. But the thing is, we now live in this place where everyone wants to walk into the gym in day one and come out the six pack in day one, you know?
Yeah.
And
Instant gratification.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding that has been such a game changer for me, because I used to think, you know, when I put out a video on YouTube, if it does really well, then maybe things will start to take off. But now my thought process is, okay, I'm putting out this YouTube video. This is a 3-year plan. Doesn't matter how the video does. I'm developing this and I'm going to progress it further, because I know in 3 years, I'll have hundreds of videos backed up that people can watch also as I improve.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that development of your habits, the habits that are going to change your life, the habits that are going to take you to the person you want to be, and grateful for every little thing that you have, has been the biggest shift in my mindset for me personally. I've been able to, I actually, it was weird. I had my first breakthrough with meditation on the 100th day of me doing it. That was the first breakthrough I had. And I was in tears. I couldn't control my body. Like, it was really weird. And I was never someone who ever really thought about meditation in that way. And on the 100th day, when that happened, it blew my mind, because it just showed me that consistency of building a habit, which I didn't even know if it worked or not, proved to work for me. That put it in my brain that, okay, this is why habits are important. This is why the long process is important. And the second one, and it's one that everyone says, and I didn't fully understand, and I think everyone says this as well, and they don't fully understand until they do it, but the people you surround yourself with, I'm not kidding, David. It was the biggest game changer for me. I'm now in a networking group for business people in Scotland and the UK, and I have had calls with the top mindset coaches in the world. I've had calls with people who are in employment law. I've had calls with people who are in every business that I could be interested in, property. And you see their motivation, you see their determination, and you see that they actually want to help you become better. And that's something I'd never really seen. You know, everyone always seems to just want something off of you. And there's never a sort of mutual, like, you help me, I'll help you. It's a sort of, I'll take, and that's it, you know? And I'm never bothered about being the one in the friendship who says, you know what, I'll give as much as I can, because it doesn't really matter if you are enjoying the friendship. It really doesn't. But when you're in that business call with people who ask you first, what can I help you with? What value can I bring to you today? That was such a change for me, because as a Twitch streamer, you know, it was always, it doesn't matter about me. How's everyone doing here? You know, I've never had anyone say to me, the first thing in the call is, how can I add value to your life? And that blew my mind. So for me, those two things are potentially the most powerful that anyone can start to build, and why I actually want to focus on habit building so much, due to the sheer power of the long-term rewards and the compounding effects you'll get from doing that day in and day out.
Sure, yeah. The you know, that is, I mean, to be honest with you, it's not, the habit part is nothing new, right? It's just kind of being reminded about that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As far as you're right, like, especially now with social media, social media being a big part of that instant gratification is always kind of top of the list, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I get what you're saying. It's just trying to back yourself back out of that, and realizing that it takes time to do almost anything, you know what I mean? there are fringe cases or outliers where some people have had success very quickly, and but those are outliers. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not. If you go look at for streamers, for example, the big streamers streamed for 7 years. I mean, 6 years, whatever it was. It was many years before they actually had like a big following. And like you said, now obviously we're talking about streaming versus real life on habits, but habit wise, they got on every day. They did what they were doing every day, and they established those habits, and that helped them succeed in the end. Not in 3 days, but in years. And so I get that. So you saying you have like a 3-year plan is awesome. Like it gives kind of a proof to what you're teaching, basically. Other people is like, hey, look, I'm looking at a 3-year window here, not I'm gonna be good in a week, and this is I've succeeded. So that's awesome. It sounds really good, and it's a great mindset to be in. And I think those are very good. Both those things are very good. Things to think about. Just habits, having good habits like that, and surrounding yourself with people. Obviously, that's a thing for every aspect of life, which is great because that's what you're teaching. So it's very cool to hear, especially like I said, just at 22 with you having this kind of mindset. It's just amazing to me. Now, maybe down the road, that's what all 22-year-olds think about, and that's awesome, good. But like, it's just it seems kind of it's a little more rare right now, and that's it's just good to hear. All the next generations having those type of focuses. So
no, I'm glad.
Cool. So you did mention habits and good habits and bad habits. Are there any bad habits that you found yourself having that you ended up having to change?
Yep, massive ones.
We all have bad habits, right? So we'll start with that. But was there something that you changed that did help you, or you felt like it helped you a lot more than some of the other bad habits? You know what I mean?
Two main ones. The first one was to limit my time on social media. On my PC, I have a Chrome extension that's called, I genuinely think it's called Limit. And you can set limits for certain ones. And then also on my phone, I deleted Twitter off my phone. I don't really use Twitter that much anymore. I rarely go on it because you really do go onto your phone, click on it, and it's just negative after negative after negative after negative. And it's people don't realize how much of a downer that puts on your day by doing that every single day. So I removed Twitter from my phone, and I have not downloaded it since. I've never had any intention to download it since. That was one of my worst habits because I'd end up scrolling for 2 hours. And the other one, which is something no one really thinks about that much, is I don't have my phone in my bed when I go to sleep anymore. Because when we wake up, we obviously pick up our phone, we go onto social media, we do things that waste our time, and then we don't start our day. And that's probably the worst thing you can do. There's a lot of scientific studies backed up on some of the waves that are sent out through your phone, the blue light and all that, with your eyes adjusting when you're waking up. Even those are proof already that you shouldn't be doing it. But just on the basis of going onto your phone to see negative stuff on social media, you're literally waking up to negativity. You're choosing to wake up to, oh, the world's crap. Okay, let's try and start my day now. And that was probably the worst habit that I had. Now I start my day solely based off of me. I do my morning routine, which is filled up with some of my habits. And that's been the biggest game changer. Honestly, that's the worst habit I had and the best one that's changed me.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, you're replacing your bad habit with a good habit or multiple good habits. So that's good. I mean, it changes, obviously, your focus at that point. So it makes sense. That's one I have to work on more. I try, like, when I go to bed, I put my phone away usually. And then, like, a lot of times, during my off days when I'm not streaming, I try to spend time with my wife. We'll watch shows or we'll do something. And so I try to stay off my phone for that kind of stuff, but it is a process because, when we first started, it's like, okay, we're watching a show, but I got my phone over here and I'm looking at I'm like, you know what? I'm not actually really watching this show. You know what I mean? Like, it's on. I know what happened in the background, but to be honest with you, am I really spending this time the way I should be? Because like, I'm not getting everything out of it I could be because I'm over here looking at my phone. You know, and so that is a big one, and I'm sure like that's going to be a really hard habit to break it. You know, for people that need to break it. You know what I mean? It's like our reliability or our need, I guess, for having a phone and being on it all the time is a big one. That's a hard one.
And that's, you actually had a spot that was great there, and it's going to be a hard habit to break. You know, habits aren't one of these things that you just wake up. I didn't wake up instantly and say, yeah, I'm going to delete Twitter off my phone and never ever go on it again in my life. You know, it didn't happen like that. I failed a few times, just like all my other habits with taking my phone out of my bed and never having it in my bed. I failed many times with that because you end up going into your bed and you have your phone when you're just about to go to sleep, and then you fall asleep and your phone's there and you wake up and you pick the phone up again. And there you go, you've ruined the habit already. But it's that continuous progression of knowing that this is good for me, this is going to make a benefit. And once you actually do start to see the positive changes, and this is why I think it's important to have things that can replace it, you know, the good habits that are going to replace the bad one, you start to see the actual benefit that you're going to get out of it, rather than you're losing something that you sort of enjoyed and then you're not getting anything in return for it.
Sure, yeah. And the other thing is, it kind of goes back to one of our starting points you were talking about is breaking a habit isn't instantaneous. Yet again, it is something that you have to do, and it will happen over time. So it just goes right back to kind of one of your main points from earlier. You know, there's no instant gratification here on breaking the habit. You gotta take it in stride. You know, take your steps. You know, you'll have setbacks, like you said. The thing is, moving on from those setbacks is a big one. You know what I mean? You gotta keep pushing forward. So it's a great. I like how things tie together. You know what I mean? It's a good way. So cool. Well, you know so bad habits for me. I think phone is a bad habit for everyone probably at this point. But unless you're my dad's like, little side story here. My dad's just like, a phone's a phone. So he only takes phone calls on it. He doesn't put phone numbers in his phone. He remembers all his phone numbers. So, you know, you keep a sharp mind doing that, I guess.
That's awesome. I really like that.
Yeah. And he's just like, you know what? No. And it's so frustrating because he has a smartphone, but he does not use any of the smartphone features. I'm like, why do you have this? He spent so much money on it. Like, use it. And he's like, no, it's a phone. I'm like, okay, fine. You know? And now that I look at it, I'm like, man, I should do that. Phone's a phone, and then that way I only use it for phone calls. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not looking around on the internet, you know.
No, honestly, but, I want to do that in the future. I want to have two phones. One that I do use to post on certain things if I need to post it on my phone.
Sure.
I'd love to have one that is just for phone calls. You know, if you have an emergency, you have that for just that. Because we do. And one of the things I always see, and we all do it. I've tried to break the habit, and I believe I've broke it now. But now we use our phones as a comfort for everything. You know, when you're with your friends, and when we could go out in the past last year, or when you were at a restaurant, or when someone was literally just standing anywhere, they would instantly go into their pocket and just pull out their phone as comfort. They could not stand, sit, or do anything with nothingness for more than 20 seconds before pulling out their phone. And it was amazing to watch people who just, you knew they needed their phone. The phone needed to be out. And I think it's a really, really interesting thing, especially when you're out with people that
you know and you can talk to. Yeah.
You're out there to talk to people, to meet the person face to face. You can use your phone at any point. And I've always made that a rule for myself that whenever I'm out with anyone, you do not bring out your phone unless it's for an emergency, because you're there for the person. You're there to spend time with that person. You're not there to be on your phone because it will be there once you go home.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, 100%. And that's, I mean, you see a lot of that, you know, on the internet of you know, not really memes, but you know, those cartoons where it's just like everybody's on their phone, you know. It's like or you know, one of the other things, we're going on a phone tangent, but hey, you were talking about with your with your friends. But to be honest with you, the next thing from there, and it's something I see because I'm a parent. Okay,
Ah.
you got a ways to go, even if assuming you even want kids. But even as a parent, you go and you do stuff with your kids, or you go watch your kids recital. Nobody watches a recital anymore. Everybody's recording it on their phone. Or more relatable maybe to you guys is going to a concert. Nobody's actually watching the concert. They're just recording it and hoping they can go get those likes. We're coming back to the likes thing. They're hoping they can get those likes on social media. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Like, you're supposed to be enjoying this movement, not recording it on your phone. Okay.
Exactly. And someone said something a while back to me. It was about recording one thing a day in your life to go and relive it back. And I love that. Yeah. And he said, don't do it for in the moment. Don't do it when the moment's happening, because you know how that feeling sometimes. You're like, I'm going to remember this moment. This is going to be great. Don't do it there, but you do it afterwards. And you only do it for 3 or 4 seconds and just make it a clip, not a photo, but a video, because then you can go back to it in the future and you can remember a little bit about the environment, the sounds, that sort of stuff. Sure. And I thought that was perfect because, as you said, people at concerts are just, they're holding up their phone, they're nodding their head, and they've just got the phone there for 15 minutes.
Right.
And you're like, are you even enjoying this? Are you even like, you're right now?
You're distracted. Yeah. From the actual event. Yeah.
We really need to just sometimes take a step back and think, you've got to remember this, not having your phone out and just recording something that you might or might not want for 15 minutes. Record for 4 seconds. Enjoy that 4 seconds. Remember how good it was, how good a feeling that was to be there, to be present, to be enjoying the music and feeling that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's our phones. They're evil, man. We got to figure out how to fix that. Okay. Well, I wanted to touch a little bit because this is kind of something you're trying to do anyway. Is the coaching aspect. And more or less, like, I'm just wondering, like, and to be honest with you, I don't have an answer to this, so I'm just asking you. When do you feel like someone should seek out coaching? Is there a time, or, like, I mean, I know you probably should always be looking to better yourself, right? If we're going with what's good, but, like, is there a time when we should look to be coached or asked to be coached?
There's a few different scenarios that I would say that it comes into it and it becomes a better way forward. Now, coaching is, how I see it anyway, is a fast track through the mistakes that most people make. A lot of people, granted, some coaches won't be able to do that for you, but the ones who really enjoy the process and understand from experience how to go through that movement will be able to get you through all of the mistakes and just go through the train track. The mistakes are on these side, and they help you guide through that path of not making all the same ones everyone else makes. So your journey could be cut down by quite a lot as you don't make these minuscule mistakes that everyone else makes when they just do it by themselves. And I know I've done this because I only have recently hired coaches for my business and all that sort of stuff. But I would say, for one, if someone has just started and wants to not make those mistakes, you can go for it. It will probably cost a lot of money because you're more likely wanting to do a one-to-one basis where you can actually ask them physical questions consistently, not the group settings or not self-taught courses. But there's a bunch of different ways that you do it. And the amazing thing about coaching is that everyone targets different people. So a coach could teach someone who has literally known nothing about it to knowing or becoming a so-called expert in the field in 12 weeks or less, because they have all the knowledge in the ins and out. For me personally, I want someone who has tried in their life to become better, who has tried these systems, tried these habits and failed. I want my client to have failed before they ever work with me. I want them to know that feeling of trying and not succeeding, because those are one of the biggest lessons that we can teach. And all of the best things that I have learned is through me completely fucking up or the worst times in my life. They've taught me the most to get to where I am today. So for coaching, it can be at any point. for anyone, because it's whenever you feel ready that you can consume that information and take action on that information. Because it's not the coach's job, obviously, to get you wherever you want to go, because you still have to take that action. The coach is just giving you a pathway that not many people could probably give in just a 30-minute chat to get you to where you want to go. You know, you have this destination. The coach can help you start from that destination and take that track along there. But when you're trying to learn from YouTube, you're trying to learn from Instagram, you're trying to learn from Twitter, you're trying to learn from Twitch, you start to sort of overconsume and you start to go in weird directions, up and down hills, make these mistakes that you probably shouldn't have and you spent 3 months on. Whereas a coach will help you get that structure and that process to really get you to that end goal that you're looking for. Obviously, the end goal isn't the end, it's just the beginning, but that's the sort of sense. I believe coaches can teach in every single different rank. It really depends on where the person is in their own journey. You know, they can go from right at the beginning and they could find a coach who focuses primarily on those people who have just started and know nothing, or you can go for the people who have taken the jumps, have taken the leaps, and then you can start to guide them in a little bit of a better direction than they've been going, because they're all over the place due to overconsumption, due to trying these things that were just never aligned with who they were meant to be.
Sure, they're consuming content that is for a specific type of people, and they may not even be those types of people.
Yes.
Whereas when you have a coach, if they're a good coach, I guess, you know, they, with the back and forth, you get that back and forth, and they can determine what kind of person you are, and then maybe kind of tailor the experience to your goals and how you learn and stuff like that. Whereas when you're on YouTube, like you're saying, like that's meant just for whoever wants to watch it, you know, to be honest with you, and only certain people are going to get what they need out of that. So I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's a very wise point.
One of the biggest factors as well, and it's really interesting actually, is the monetary value, because free information is probably, all the free information will be out there for anyone to follow, no matter what. But 99% never, ever take action on it. It's when they have something that is painful to them taken away that they will actually start to realize, this is the information I need. I need to actually do something about it. And that's what a lot of the coaches that I've been talking to anyway, when they've tried to talk about the fear of selling to people, you know, this is what it costs to have my coaching. It's not about the money that they're paying for that. It's the money that they're dedicating to start taking action, because so many can get all the information they want. It's like a university course. You could probably complete a full university course whenever you want on Google. How many people are going to do that though? But when people pay for university and they're paying to get the tuition, they're paying to get these courses and the modules split up so that it's understandable and digestible, then they can actually take action on it. That's where the real value comes in. You've got the pain point there. You start to take action because it's given it in a structure that Google and YouTube doesn't really have for you.
Sure. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. And that's kind of the same, you know, just you have to realize that you're paying for investment in yourself, really.
Yes.
And so that's the biggest thing too, is just to realize that you're paying that money, and what you're getting out of it is just making yourself better. And so that makes sense. It's just you got to realize that, I guess, you know. So that's really cool. Well, you know, I had something that was in my brain and I just lost it. So we're gonna move on. Maybe I'll remember in a second. So is there anything out that you think, like right now, like maybe something that you wish you knew when you started trying to obtain your goals? We've kind of went over some of that already.
Yeah.
But any one thing that you think could kind of help everyone that you wish you knew, you know, like that you've learned throughout your experience, that's like kind of like your top thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I would say nobody really gives a shit about what you're doing. Honestly, no one cares. Everyone has their own worries. Everyone gets anxious on the things that they're doing, that they're putting out, and you worrying about the minuscule things that you're doing. They don't know. They don't care. They're worried about their own minuscule things that they're worried about doing. I worried for far too long what people thought about me, and I worried far too long about how people would judge me for the things that I was doing or being liked by everyone and not offending everyone. In reality, if you're on the internet, you cannot do that. It does not work. If you're a content creator, people are not going to like you. There's going to be people who may even listen to this podcast and hate me for the things that I'm trying to do. Great, that's fine, because not everything is for everyone. That's the thing. And if I could learn anything earlier, it would have been that.
Yeah, it sounds kind of like, you know, it's you're right. I mean, there's so many different people and personalities in the world that you cannot be likable by everyone. Even if you're the guy who's just trying to be so generic that you're trying to be liked by everyone, you're going to be hated by people who don't like that. So I get that. So it's more about focusing, and like it's kind of going full circle again. It's less about the negative and focusing on the positive, and just put your content out. Enjoy the connections you have with people who, you know, agree, like your content, and that should be the validation you need, right? Like, as long as, well, to be honest with you, I think the validation you need is as long as you like your content, you know, then you're good. But you should focus on the people who are like, oh, this is awesome, like, you know, good job, and not the negative, which is kind of opposite of the world, you know, though the world's like negative, but I get that. It's yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Just you can't make everyone happy. I get that.
You never can.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, okay. So this was my question, and you kind of might have answered this, kind of a roundabout way. So you said you started off as a streamer, I guess.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. Well, my question was, because kind of like your social media and your YouTube and everything is all Andrew Ellis, right?
Yeah.
So I was just going to ask you why real name over Nick, but I'm going to guess that's something to do with your shift into actual coaching. Is that
it wasn't actually.
Oh, okay. So
So my name when I started out, because I didn't want people to know who I was, became Bottom Frag.
Okay.
That was my name on stream and everywhere else, all my social medias. And when I started to create YouTube content, I saw that I really enjoyed the sort of self-development and pushing my comfort zone a little bit more to do that. And on stream, I wasn't playing games as much. I was mostly doing just chatting, and people were coming in for the just chatting. People were coming in to talk. I was getting to know the community, and it felt a lot more non-game basis. And Bottom Frag was solely related to game. That's what it was, you know. It came from CSGO. When I first started and first got a PC, I was always bottom fragging, and that's where I just decided that would be my name. So that change came when a sort of mini leap in that area where I wanted to not be scared of being me anymore. This was about a year into the journey where some people started figuring out who I was, what I was doing. This is when I started to tell some of my really close friends that I've been doing this for a year. And I wanted to take a leap that pushed my comfort zone pretty far, you know, and sort of express on all my social medias and on Twitch and on streaming that this is me, and I'm not afraid of that anymore.
Embracing
me,
yourself.
That was exactly. Yeah. And for me, that was a massive leap internally. I know I said a mini leap because the other two earlier on about the fear and then also moving to what this is now, they are pretty big, but I still would say that change from Bottom Frag to Andrew Ellis was massive internally, you know, for me. Maybe for other people it was just, he's changed his name, great.
Well,
for me that was big.
I get that. No, I think so you finally embraced yourself, which is amazing. But also I think, you know, especially for the things you want to do, it's a lot more personable, right?
Oh yeah.
You're not talking to just some moniker. You're talking to Andrew. You know, and when you know somebody on a first name basis, even if it's just as an acquaintance, I mean, it hits a lot more. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's awesome. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. I like that story. I was just wondering because I was like, man, he's Andrew Ellis everywhere. He's doxing himself all over the place. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so
really liked that question. No, that was good.
Yeah, I you know, it's just one of those things. I've always like, I don't know, for me, my stuff's just all about gaming, so whatever. but like I love once I do meet people and get to know them that we are on a first name basis.
Yes.
So I get that connection. So that's kind of why I wanted to explore that question with you, because I was like, is it for the connection? Like, is that why you changed it? And partially, yes, right. But overall, it was you embracing yourself, which is even cooler. So whatever, you know, that's awesome. So yeah, awesome. Okay, well, I don't know. So for me, you've basically answered everything that I came here to learn, and I appreciate that. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Honestly, I think we covered a great part of it, and we kept circling back on the same point, which I loved. Like, we brought things back from what we talked about earlier. That was amazing.
Yeah, it worked out. So real quick, I want to give you a chance. Earlier when you were talking about yourself, I did bring up like your socials and stuff.
Yeah.
But is there anything you want to tell people to go check out if they want to see more of like you or your stuff, or what's the best way to like check out your content?
Yeah, well, if you want to just check out my day-to-day normal stuff, it's probably Instagram would be the best way to do that, and to get in contact with me. So that's Andre Ellis with 3 underscores. And then if you'd like to listen to something more along the lines of podcasting, I have my own as well, which is The Power of Positivity, on all platforms. So if you'd like that more long-form content and a better understanding or a deeper understanding of who I am, then that's the best place to find that.
And that's Spotify, Apple, all of them.
It's everywhere. As many places as I could put it on, and I think it's about 30.
Just try to make sure everybody has access. Yeah. And then did you say, and now maybe I'm overstepping here, so let me know. But did you say you had a website or like a community site that you're trying to build, or is that
I don't currently. I have a Discord, but that's something that I've been neglecting a little bit as I focused on uni. But in the future, I will be starting to build something like that I've got in the works. But currently, right now, I don't.
And you'll put that on, obviously, your socials at some point.
Yeah, so that'll be everywhere. If
you follow those things, then you'll see that when it happens. Yeah. Well, look, Andy, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking your time. We were joking about the time difference, but hey, I think it worked out okay. You know, we just had to do it on a Saturday, so
yeah. It's been great, David. Thank you so much. And this was amazing. I really, really enjoyed it. And I had a blast being on here. So thank you for having me as a guest. It means a lot.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you you coming and being our first guest on the Lost in Thought podcast. So hopefully we're going to have some more down the road. And hopefully they're as good as this one. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Talk to you later.
Peace.